Hello, everyone. I'm Elvira, and welcome to Energy Movement podcast. Today, I'm very happy to have with me John Schwartzman from AirPipe. Hi, John. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm completely humbled by this. I hope you know that.
Thank you, John. You're really lifting up the spirit of compressor industry. Whenever I go on LinkedIn and I see your post, there always feels so much joy and positiveness. I'm this research nerd, that's been in the industry for the 13 years, and I usually look on the dark side of this, and you're like balancing it very good. So, well, how long you've been? Tell us a bit just about yourself. How long you've been now in compressed air and with AirPipe and what just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I started with AirPipe about 6.5 years ago. Everybody knows Josh Wamser in the industry, and that's the guy that got me into this industry. So everything you can blame Josh for everything. It's all Josh's fault.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about AirPipe for our listeners that are not aware about your company.
Sure. So AirPipe Corporate is out of Ningbo, China, and they started in the early 2000s. AirPipe USA started in 2015 by a gentleman by the name of Chad Hills. Started it from scratch here in the United States, and we have grown and we are continuing to grow. We have three different warehouses throughout the United States. We have a global presence. We have AirPipe China, AirPipe India, AirPipe Europe, AirPipe USA, of course, and soon to be others.
Okay, great. So we're expected to be in Italy, I hope, in Europe.
Yep, our headquarters is in Nantes, in France,
France.
and,
Okay.
and then our warehouse is in Belgium. So
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So I think it's quite obvious if I ask you what about the technology. So air pipe, all the pipes that bring compressed air to the users, to the final users, right? Uh,
correct.
what is your product offering? What is your services?
So we are strictly aluminum and stainless steel piping systems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you said, we go from the compressor room, throughout the compressor room, up to the main header and down to all the point of use drops.
Okay. So, and I mean, sometimes it can sound like very simple. Okay, just a pipe, right? But I imagine that this is the one of the most important parts to connect it from compressor room to the users. And from my experience, I actually find a lot of problems in general in the piping. So
Sure.
considering the leakage, considering also the pressure drops or wrong design. So it's not as trivial as you could think. So I wanted to ask you in general about the trends of technologies that now are coming into the piping industry, or what is the most requested, and where is your gig right now on this?
So, excellent question. And the first thing I would like to say is you are right, it is super important. And the number one priority in all of what we do with compressed air, whether it's the compressor, the piping, the dryers, is safety. We
Okay.
cannot forget that for paramount. I mean, that is paramount. It's compressed air. And, I mean, quite honestly, I mean, it's dangerous. And yeah, so we take a lot of pride in understanding the safety factors of how our pipe is put together, the installation. We live in a world now where everything is instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants everything right now,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yesterday.
yeah, they want it yesterday, and we get it because there's timelines, but the speed to market
Mm-hmm.
that is expected nowadays is
Mm-hmm.
something that we at AirPipe have really, really honed in on and concentrated on. That customer experience, and I'm going to talk to the technology in a second. I will, I promise you.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
the customer experience nowadays, thank you, Amazon, is
Mm.
is what everybody has of that expectation of we got to have it now. How can I get it right now? And so we looked at our business as not just a pipe and a fitting business, but almost like as it we're a logistics company.
Oh, that's very
Okay.
interesting. Okay.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to reach all in the United States, especially, we need to be able to reach all points. And we know it's a large country, obviously. So that's why we have three distribution centers. We
Mm-hmm.
can do overnight to the East Coast late in the day from Tempe, Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
because that customer needs that. They need that one elbow that they didn't order, or they realize now they have to get around a bend. So we need an elbow and a 45, and we need
Mm-hmm.
them at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've invested heavily at AirPipe in terms of logistics and how we manage logistics. We've
Mm-hmm.
hired individuals for that. I mean, it's important. It's super important. Speed to market, I cannot express it enough.
Okay,
Okay.
that's very impressive. I mean, I've never thought about the piping industry as a logistic I mean,
Well,
it's amazing.
we're trying to
Yes.
move. We're trying to move 20-foot, sleds. We have our sticks are, and all of our competitors. And by the way, we have great competitors. I
Mm-hmm.
love this industry, and I love competing with the other
Mm-hmm.
competitors. It's so much fun. But we have 19-foot sticks that we're trying to logistically move throughout, and it's not easy because it takes up a lot of cube in a truck. So you have to be pretty smart and pretty savvy on how you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we've invested in that, and we're going to continue, because at the end of the day, that customer experience has got to be satisfied.
Okay. So you mentioned like speed to market, like when they're gonna the availability of your stocks. It's extremely important, right?
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
the availability of the service team. So you have a service team that would come and like do the installation. You work through distributors. How does it work?
So
Uh-huh.
we work through distribution. All right. Now,
Mm-hmm.
different areas around the world for air pipe, we do it differently. I know at our headquarters in our Chinese market, they do the installation, they provide the product, and they do the soup to nuts. Here in the US, everything's done through distribution,
Okay.
whether it's a compressor house or whether it's what we call a PVF house. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we all go to market.
Okay.
And they have the relationships with those mechanical contractors who do the installs. Now you have individuals like Marshall Bryant down in Georgia and Josh Wamser here in South Carolina. These cats, they know what they're doing with compressed air. And I'm talking 8, 10 inch pipe, no problem. Those guys are installers and they're
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Typically, your compressor house, they're super comfortable with 2 inches and below.
Mm-hmm.
When you get up into the 6, 8, 10 inch, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
different type of individual and expertise. And
Yes.
that's where guys like I just mentioned, those guys, they're fantastic with that. So, yeah, I
Okay.
got some
Great.
great installers.
So you basically don't just supply a pipe, you don't just supply with a piece, you supply the complete solution. You kind of remove a headache from the customer. So he needs at the end not a pipe, he needs to deliver compressed air from his compressor room to their end user.
And he wants it yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
But yeah,
that's
that's it. I mean, I can't say enough about customer service.
yeah,
You know, I mean, we're set up in a way where our customers know who their customer service people are.
yeah.
They know who they're calling. There's no mystery. They know the hierarchy of who they need to call. If it's technical, they call me for some reason. I still don't understand. But if it's administrative, if it's shipping, they know exactly who to call, and it gives that customer. And again, I've said it. I keep repeating it, but that customer experience, man, you got to satisfy it because the fuse is about this short
Yeah,
nowadays. It used to
yes.
have a little leeway, not anymore. So, we've invested in that as well. And because that's an important part. And I tell you, we have the best customer service. I'll put them up against anybody, hands down.
Oh, great. I mean, maybe you can do like a workshops in the future about the customer service in compressor industry.
Well,
So
I'd be more than happy to.
that
Yeah,
would be really
I
great. I think
believe in it.
I'll get a consultation from you definitely on that. So talking about yeah, to our listeners also send me your inquiries if you want the consultation with John
Be
on
careful
the
what you
customer
ask for.
service. And when you basically, so imagine we have a new customer. So I'm very curious about this topic because a lot of auditors will listen to us and also the distributors. So how
Right.
you imagine that the company is looking to improve their compressed air system, right? So where they should start, so they understand, okay, we need something about the piping, we probably need something else. So what
And
is the first step and how you would help them?
so the first thing I would tell you is sizing matters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what exactly is going to be using the air,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to size your system appropriately.
Yeah.
Many people want to put in their sizing based on what they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can go a little lower and save a little bit of money, we're going to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
My advice is you size for what your future plans are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing a new building, you size for what the future is, what the expansion is. You can always put an end cap on the end of it to hold it until you decide where your equipment's going, or where next we're going to build a new building in the future, and this is the plan because we're going to do this product over here, and we can tie right into this system. They got to, even when they're buying their compressor, they got to think about that. It's a complete system. It's not just the piping. They got to understand their receiver tank. They got to understand what they're gonna do in terms of compressor and dryers. They want to make sure that they're not left having to say, we need another compressor on this side of the building, or we need another tank because we didn't size it properly.
Yeah.
So that's super important. So size absolutely does matter. Um, One of the other things that I think is also super important, okay, you cannot manage what you don't measure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't care what industry you're in. If you can't measure something, you can't manage it. So though they've been around, sensors and air audits and things, they've been around for a long time, but man, do I see a big influx. You got companies like CS Instruments, VP Instruments, Suto, our friends over in Slovenia, the guys from Comms. These folks are taking it personally to
Mm-hmm.
understand, you know, how are the leaks affecting production? How are the leaks affecting the energy consumption? I hats off to these folks, and I see a lot more of this type of information being wanted by the end user. Maintenance teams are now looking for that so they can not only do their corrective maintenance, but they can do predictive maintenance.
Yeah.
That's super important. If you can solve a problem before it happens, that that is yes, that is such a win. Such a win. So I really see companies that want to improve their system, talk to these companies and figure out a way to measure it so they can manage it.
Yeah, yes. No, I definitely agree with you. So many times we see this uh, facilities where they decide to buy a new production line and then they completely forget. Then they think, okay, the air will flow there anyways, and then there is a huge pressure drop. There is a problem in the production, and you just could simply just size it correctly at the beginning and then measure it after all to see that. So I completely agree with you, and I really like, John, that you have this holistic approach to this. So before I thought, we're going to talk about pipes. Okay, so how many people will listen to us? But here is completely different business model, understanding of the customers, and it's really fascinating. So I must
Well,
say.
good.
And so, what are your next plans and steps? Where do you see the trends in the technologies? I mean, what is actually happening also in the piping industry? Are there any some, I don't know, cool coupling, new materials, or
So what I would
transmitted air by force of thought? I don't know.
Yes, no, I'm with
So
you. So I will jump back because even in my notes I had it written down that the
yeah.
technology, though it's been around, again, we just mentioned sensors, and that's the big that to me is one of the biggest things. Look, like I said, I have some great competitors, and we all have
Mm-hmm.
different technologies. At the end of the day, the aluminum pipe is the aluminum pipe.
Yes.
The only difference is the shade of the powder coating on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fitting technology that we all have a little bit of different. Now, I just came out, I don't know if you saw a video. We came out last week with a cross that's super coming out of the compressor room. It gives you a different branch to head off, where we used to put a T up there and you're either
Mm-hmm.
going left or right.
Yeah.
Now we have that option. Now other folks have had that, and that's fine. Um, But it's just these things of that nature that we come up with. Maybe a sweeping 90 that's a little bit longer than the normal 90.
Yes,
Things like that. So and we're always looking for new ways to connect and new faster, again, faster, quicker, easier. When architects are designing buildings now, they're looking at the weight that they're putting on the ceiling. Because it
yes,
used to
of
be
course.
all that carbon steel, and you get a 12-inch carbon steel pipe 300 meters long. That's a little weight. And you can
Yeah,
see roofs now from the old are starting to go like this.
yes,
So they're
yeah.
looking at new technologies and making things even lighter.
Yeah, I think
So
lighter and faster, it's two like big trends that we see. Talking about faster,
absolutely.
can you maybe tell how long a typical project takes to install a new pipe system, for example?
Again, that
That
all
depend,
depends on the size.
of course.
I'll tell you what a lot of it depends on is who the installer is.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, I will
Okay.
tell you that there are the professional installers, and they're all professional installers of pipe of some sort, but a compressed air system is a little bit different than a water system.
Yeah, but
You know,
let's give just a comparison. You know, this sometimes I meet also customers that say they have a huge pressure drop because the pipe was not sized correctly, right? And we propose them to install a new pipe, like to optimize their system somehow, and they say it's too complicated, it's too long, so I rather have this pressure drop because it will take us, I don't know, 2 weeks to do this project. What is in your scale? Let's say we can be honest, it's an honest podcast here. So
sure.
bad installers like a typical one, or like hero installers implementation of the project, what would be like the difference in timing?
I think that I think it all starts at the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, when we talked about, the size matters.
Yes.
It all starts from the plan. Either, have a plan or plan to fail.
Yes.
So I mean, again, it just depends. I mean, some customers say, you know what, we're going to have pressure drop, and
And whatever.
you guys are just
Yes.
going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But that's where you hear a lot too when people say we need a new compressor, we need a new tank. No, you don't. You need new piping is what you need, because
Exactly. Exactly.
you got that carbon steel pipe that was put up 30 years ago that was a 4-inch pipe that when you cut it open is now a 2-inch pipe. And you're still trying, and you've added equipment to it. You've added SCFM. So they think
Exactly.
the answer is let's throw another compressor at it, or let's throw another tank on that side of the building. They don't want to look at the piping, but that's what I suggest. And then, of course, because I'm the pipe guy. Uh,
Yeah.
but
No, but this is
I,
essential. Yes.
yes, ma'am.
That this is essential. Well, John, that's great. I mean, I discovered so many things about the piping world today. So it's really a good surprise for me. Is there like anything you would like to add? I mean, you gave really great advices for both service people as well as like the end customers, talking about the sizing, talking about the installation of the sensors. It's extremely important to see also when you have to change the pipe, right? Like what the pipe will get like rusty, and then you'll get the higher pressure
Absolutely.
drops also there. Like if there is like anything else you would like to add, like from your end, or what are the, I don't know, next big things for your company?
So there's some big things happening, but we're not talking about them here.
Okay,
Uh,
we will have
yeah.
another podcast about the big things.
When it's done, we can have another podcast. But yeah, no, again, everybody, first and foremost, and I said it before and I'll say it again, first and foremost, safety,
Yeah.
safety, 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 safety. Okay. That is the most important thing. Um, and, I'll leave you with safety,
Hmm.
pre-plan, make sure you spend the money to get an expert in there to make sure that you have the right system, the right size, and that you've planned for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing I'll leave you with again is the customer experience. If you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will. I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but it's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
So I hope you all
Perfect.
have a fantastic holiday season.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks a
And
lot,
as
and I see you
always,
in the next
rock on.
podcast. Okay. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Elvira.
Thank you.